Hey everyone, welcome to Broadband Deployment News. BEAD is starting to move forward a little bit more now. We have two states that have opened their application process. I'll be right back with more. Thanks for joining me. Rick Husey here with Zecorum with Broadband Deployment News. Montana and Louisiana have opened their BEAD applications. You see here's a story about Louisiana. So we are starting to see a little bit of progress there. It's coming up on 3 years since the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act passed, which had the BEAD program as part of that, BEAD being 42.5 billion or so in funding for broadband throughout the country. And we haven't really seen, there have been some various programs as part of that infrastructure, including a middle mile program that's, I believe, had some money put out and is being put to use. But as far as BEAD is concerned, we had lots of delays, including having to wait for the FCC broadband map to get established so we knew which specific locations had access to broadband and which did not, where we needed to know where broadband was before we could start funding broadband. So been long delays and, wanting to make sure everything is done correctly and challenges, those kinds of things. But Louisiana has really been on top of things from the very beginning. So they were the first to get in all of their applications and their proposals, get the challenge process done. They were right in front, and I think at the last minute here, I believe Montana beat them by a day or two on getting their application process started sooner. But Louisiana, again, really is right up there at the front, getting things done. So that's what this story is about. This is about Louisiana accepts BEAD broadband funding applications. 33 providers are cleared to bid. I thought this was interesting because we can look and see which providers have been cleared here. So state of Louisiana has begun accepting applications for rural broadband funding that it received through the federal BEAD program. And it hasn't yet received that funding. It just knows how much it's going to be getting. They'll get some funding and they'll eventually get all their funding. But at this point, they know how much people are going to get, how much each state is going to get, I should say, and what they have available to them to use. 33 providers, including AT&T, Brightspeed, Charter, Comcast, Cox, and smaller companies, have been cleared to participate in this funding round. So this is round one. They have until August 29th to apply for funding. Louisiana was the first state to have its BEAD funding released. The state was allocated more than $1.3 billion from the program to cover some of the costs of broadband deployments to unserved and underserved locations in the state. State will continue to use the Gumbo name for the program, which I love that name. The same name was used for rural broadband funding previously received from the Federal Capital Projects Fund. The program funded through BEAD will be known as Gumbo 2.0. I can't remember what that acronym stands for. It's probably not in this article, but I love it anyway. So Louisiana news comes just days after Montana began accepting BEAD applications, making the state the first to do so. So again, Montana jumped ahead of them right at the end there. Louisiana BEAD applications, nearly 140,000 locations are eligible for BEAD funding. The state plans to award BEAD funding in 2 rounds. Applicants will bid by sub-project area or groups of SPAs, with each SPA including approximately 800 eligible locations. So that's the way they're doing it. The states have some leeway there, going anywhere from an individual broadband serviceable location to large tracts that a provider would have to bid for. Louisiana is doing it on these relatively small sub-project areas that they then put into, they combine these hexagonal areas into, and I'll show you what it looks like on their map, that then companies can bid for. So it says approximately 800 eligible locations, each SPA including approximately 800 eligible locations. Only companies that were pre-qualified to bid in this round of the Gumbo program are allowed to apply for funding in this round. Complete list of the pre-qualified companies is as follows, and you see here, you'll see some that you have not heard of and others that you have, obviously. So, for example, A2D Inc., Acadiana Broadband, Allen Communications, then of course you got AT&T in there, AOP, got Brightspeed, Broadband Services, that's fairly generic, Cajun Broadband, Charter, ClearPath Fiber, Comcast is in there, Connexon, Coshada Tribe of Louisiana, Cox Communications, Direct Communications, Faster Cajun Networks, Fastwire, IBT Group, CapTel, that's Kaplan Telephone, Lake Bruin Wireless, Live Oak Fiber, Louisiana Local Fiber Consortium, LUS Fiber, Light Fiber LLC, NextLink, Pelican Broadband, excuse me, Firelink, Ritter Communications, Skyrider, SpaceX, interestingly enough, Trinity Communications, and Vexus Fiber, and Volt Broadband. So SpaceX is interesting because, again, being a low Earth orbit satellite, it's questionable as to whether it's supposed to be able to qualify for BEAD funding as to in areas that could be, let's say, extremely high cost. The NTIA is kind of thinking about that, and but SpaceX is approved here as far as in the initial applications. That's interesting. I won't read that prepared statement, but here, additional information about Louisiana Broadband, including links to state funding resources, previous awards made, state-specific telecompetitor coverage, and more can be found on the Broadband Nation webpage. There's a link there. I linked to this article, and I linked to the Louisiana page, their BEAD page here, and you can see there's lots of information about they show their grant pre-qualification. Again, this list of operators that we just looked at. And here you see grant bidding rounds. So they are doing it in 2 rounds. So you see your applicants that submitted pre-qualification applications were invited to participate in a training on use of the application bidding platform. So I'm sure that was helpful where people could go in and test out that platform, make sure they knew how it worked. They also had a mock opening for the BEAD Grant Award Management Platform. The purpose of the mock opening was to provide prospective subgrantees the opportunity to create familiarity with platform functionality and allow users to ask questions ahead of the actual bidding process. So I'm sure that was helpful as well. Now you see here round 1 applications for Gumbo 2.0 open on August 15th at 8 a.m. and that's Central Standard Time. Will close August 29th at 7:59 a.m. So open in the morning, is going to close in the morning. So any providers that want to work on it at the very last minute overnight can do that. It's got to be in by 7:59 a.m. So 14 days there on round 1. Now Montana, I don't know the specifics on theirs, but they opened theirs on August 15th, and it's going to close at 60 days, so it's going to close on October 15th. So maybe they're doing round 1 and 2 together, and or they're just doing 1 round. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but they've got 60 days there to get in their applications. So you see here, please note, once submitted, applications cannot be withdrawn, so please ensure everything in your final application is correct and accurate. So that's a word of warning there to the service providers that are bidding this big list right here. Now, also down here, we've got, again, there's more information, and then there's the Louisiana map. I wanted to pull this up real quick as I go through here. So here you see Louisiana. Let me go up a little bit. Let me get back to Louisiana. Oh, I am in Louisiana. Here we go. Okay. So as I pull in, you'll see what some of these SPAs look like. So you've got some areas that are relatively isolated. This could be just one broadband serviceable location right here, it looks like. Then you got others that are kind of put together in larger groups. So I'm assuming that if somebody were going to bid, they would bid on, this might be I don't think this is a service provider area. I'm assuming that these aggregated ones they have to bid on because this is what Louisiana's put together. I could be wrong. It could be that maybe you could just bid on a single one of these in here somewhere. But from what I understand, if there's overlap, for example, if more than one operator, let's say an operator bids on all of these locations, and then another one bids on these locations, and there's overlap, what happens here, my understanding is that the one that has the highest score will win this area, and the other operator loses everything, but then they can come back on round 2 and submit a bid for the areas that they did not lose. So that's my understanding there. So that's what the service provider areas look like. Again, I'm not totally sure what the actual project areas are. If this obviously is a single project, so somebody could bid on that. I'm assuming that this is a single project that somebody would bid on, that they would not carve out one of these hexagons here. And I think that's probably the same on these larger areas here. I think that's what we're looking at here on the map is the service project areas that were available. Not totally sure about that because haven't been privy to that and did not go in and bid. So anyway, thought that was interesting that you might want to see those service project areas. That's what they're talking about there on those little hexagonal areas that we've got right there. So again, moving forward, which is good because, as I mentioned, it's almost 3 years now coming up on when the actual Infrastructure Act passed. So it's been a lot of hurry up and wait, lots of things that had to get done. And now we've got 2 states that have got their application windows open, and there will be more that will follow, although, again, Louisiana was way out in front. Looks like Montana's got their act together, and they're doing it. So we'll start to see some others doing this, and they've got a year now. So once they open up their applications and get those in, they've got a year to pick people, I believe, to select the subgrantees, get all of that together. Now, I'm assuming these folks that are really on top of things are not going to take nearly that long. They're going to want to get their funding out as quickly as possible, these service providers, so they can get the broadband in the ground as quickly as possible, hopefully in the ground, or maybe it'd be wireless, maybe satellite, who knows. Anyway, so these guys are ahead of the curve, and I think we'll start to see more of these fall, just like we saw the initial proposals coming in, kind of all, first a few trickled in and kind of a lot at the same time. Now, of course, there was a deadline on those, so people had to meet that deadline. There are deadlines once somebody got their proposal in. There's a timeline that they have to meet. So we'll start to see that timeline play in as to when some of these other applications, some of these portals open for people to apply for funding in these various states. So anyway, that's what's going on there. So what do I have here? I had Noisy Endo 1, welcome back. What up? Currently isolating myself due to having COVID. Wow. Well, I don't know if was this your first time having COVID? Because I think I got it twice. Early on in the pandemic, I got it. I was not really too worried about it. So got it, survived it, might have gotten it again. I never got tested the second time. I just said, well, I'll deal with it. It's your first time. Okay, wow. One more question, were you vaccinated? I never bothered getting the vaccination because I got it and I had natural immunity, and that was even prior to the vaccination coming out. So, but of course, if you get the vaccination, you can get it. And if you had it before, you can get it. Like I say, I think I probably had it twice. But yeah, not sure. Yeah, that's true as far as whether you had it for the first time. Because, it is at this point, hopefully you're doing well and not feeling too bad, because it's really pretty much a cold now. I mean, it can be a little bit more severe than a cold, but yeah, experienced some symptoms which made you think you had COVID. Very, very understandable. That's why I say I think I probably had it more than once. When I thought I had it, it was around the time when other people were getting it. It's like I'd heard, hey, these people had COVID, and that person had COVID, they had gotten tested. I then suddenly had something. I didn't bother getting tested. Wasn't too concerned about it. But I hope you feel better. And I'm glad it's, we're at a point now where COVID is not too severe. Obviously, there are people that are still somewhat health compromised, especially elderly and whatnot. But we seem to have gotten through that, which is good. So anyway, thanks for joining me today. I appreciate it. And thanks for letting me know that you have COVID there. I hope you, again, are okay. And best of luck through that. We were talking yesterday, I think it was, or the day before, actually the day before, that you've got good broadband in your area. You've got several choices there, so that's good. While you are dealing with COVID, you've got many choices for broadband, including fiber and I think it was fixed wireless and cable and all kinds of stuff. So thank you, everybody, for joining me today. And if you're not subscribed to our channel, go ahead and click the subscribe button on YouTube there. Ring the bell if you're not subscribed to our channel. If you like this, give me a like on the video. I'd appreciate that. And I hope you'll join me next time for Broadband Deployment News. Take care. Bye-bye.